everybody. You're listening to Sit Down with Stand-Ups. I'm Ary Azizian, and I'm so honored to be speaking with my guest today. He's a terrific actor, and he's a very funny comedian. You may know him as Jerry, Gary, Larry, and Terry from Parks and Recreation. I'm here with Mr. Jim O'Hare.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good, and as of the other night, Barry.
Barry, oh.
Yeah, and Chris Pratt's Johnny Karate show. I'm the mailman Barry. So...
When the ninjas attack?
When the ninjas attack, yeah.
Such a great...
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem. Thank you for being here. You grew up in Chicago?
Yeah, south suburbs, a place called Lansing, Illinois. But then when I was old enough to leave, I left. I went to kind of Wrigleyville in Chicago, which is just a great area.
Next to the ballpark?
Next to the ballpark, pretty close to the ballpark. I was just in Chicago last week. I love it.
It's a really funny town,
too. It's a great town. There's so much comedy. I went very unexpectedly. I went and saw Second City main stage.
Oh, cool.
So everybody was very sweet. You know, I arrived unexpectedly. The show was sold out. They still accommodated me. It was all very nice.
Awesome.
And then they came up to me in the intermission and said, the cast would like to meet you after. Is that okay? I said, well, of course. So I go and meet the cast after, and then they said, would you stay and do a set with us, an improv set? I'm like, oh, damn, I haven't done that in a lot of years. No, I don't think I can. Well, of course, they talked me into it, and I had a blast. The audience was super great, and the actors, they're just very, they took care of me. You know what I mean? It's like a good interview. A good interviewer always makes the interviewee look good, and that's made me look. Well, thank you. Well, you're doing a good job. No, but they did a really good job of making me look good, almost like I knew what I was doing. Yeah, so that was sweet. But I love Chicago.
Well, how long has it been since you've been doing improv? Because I know you've been busy with the show and everything.
Yeah, it's been so many years for improv. I was terrified, but it is kind of like riding a bike.
Yeah.
You know, it had been so long, and then once I got out there. You know, because they had said, you only have to do what you want to do. You know, you can stay to the back. Well, I was jumping in and out, and I was doing all sorts of stuff. But I trained improv in Second City. That's where it all started in 85, I guess. Oh, God, so long ago. And that's all I did for a while. So you think, wow, this is what I'll do. But then, I got to tell you, as I became a full-fledged actor and was getting scripts, you get lazy because the words are written for you.
Exactly.
You still have work to do. You have to, come up with your take on the character. All that. It's not like that's easy.
Right.
But it's not improv.
Yeah. You got to exercise that.
Exactly. But that being said, on Parks, I'm working with Amy Poehler, the queen of improv.
Yeah.
So we got to improv a lot on the show, and so I think that helped me keep things a little sharp. But, because if you could make Amy Poehler laugh, you just felt like you had just, I mean, not that she's a tough laugh. She's kind of an easy laugh, but she only laughs at smart stuff.
Right.
Amy doesn't laugh at, it had to be smart. We always would love it if we got Amy to laugh, yeah. But improv was where it all began. Did it for a lot of years, but then it's been a lot of years where I haven't.
Yeah.
So it's really intimidating.
And that's great that you had a great time doing it in Chicago.
Oh my God, so great. But again, they coddled me.
Right.
They took care of me.
All improv, you got to make it look good.
Exactly. So. And the audience was so warm, and there was obviously a lot of Parks fans because they were just great and screaming things out. And yes, it was great. It was when I left there that night, I had such like a wow, I'm home kind of feeling, because I had performed in that space 20-something years earlier.
Wow.
Was the last time I was in that space on
stage. That's a great feeling.
So it was really. I remember, this is probably too much information, laying in a hotel bed that night, and just like thinking, wow, this was kind of the perfect night. The old expression, you can't go home again. Well, I kind of did, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that's too deep. I don't know.
That's amazing. And when you grew up in Chicago, you also were a disc jockey in college?
Well, yeah. You know what I did in college? I didn't know what I was, I graduated high school. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. I got accepted to Loyola, which is a good school in Chicago. So I went. I officially said I was a business major.
That's what I did.
There you go.
And radio on the side.
Yeah. But I didn't even know I was going to do radio on the side. Right. I just was like, well, I'll do business. And then I got there, and I got involved in a fraternity, Delta Sigma Pi, and that was crazy. And one of the guys in Delta Sig was working on the radio station, so I tuned in. It's the college radio station, so it went throughout the college and then maybe a mile out into the world.
Right.
You know, there's whatever the wattage was.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. Like, I remember thinking, this is pretty cool. Though I couldn't do a lot of music because my musical taste is horrendous. I love it, of course.
Yeah.
It's what I love.
What was your taste?
Oh, my God. I am embarrassed, but I've said it before, so I'm going to stand with it. I know every Barry Manilow song. Okay. I'm sorry. That is just, I don't know why. Mandy, you came without taking, Mandy.
Every time.
She came, she gave without taking. No, but that's just so no one wanted to hear what I had to. I had no interest in my musical taste, and I couldn't blame them. So I instead of playing music, I kind of just chatted and said whatever stupid crap came into my head. And I thought, this is kind of cool. I like this. In school, it wasn't really working for me. I was loving the fraternity, but the school part, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. It was a very confusing time. I didn't know what I was going to do. Which is why I'm always amazed, you know, and I have nieces and stuff who are in college now, and how the hell do you know what you're going to do when you walk in? You know, people are like, what are you majoring in? For the past 12 years, everything has been done for me. Right. I don't know. I don't know. So I always tell young people, you know, you'll figure it out, but don't feel like day one, unless some people have a passion, you know, from day one, you know, little kid, I want to be a doctor. God bless. Right. Go for that. Exactly. You know, if that's truly your thing. But otherwise, you got to try stuff.
Comedy is, you got to try a bunch of things.
Comedy, especially comedy.
You can't be born. I mean, you can be funny, but to think that you're going to be a comedian is like a weird.
It's one thing to be, as my sister would say, there's family funny, and then there's funny.
Right.
And I'll never forget, I was doing some show somewhere, and my sister was so worried because she hadn't seen me perform on stage. And she said she told one of her friends, but what if it turns out he's only family funny, and he's not funny for the world? You know, yeah, it was yeah. But I come from a very, I guess, funny family. I mean, we joke around, a lot of laughs. So I forget what the hell was I even asking? Oh, about radio. Oh, so yeah. So then I was there, and I really liked it. And then my mom called me one day because she knew I was up in the air about what was going on, and she said, "There's this broadcast academy that looks really cool." So I checked it out. It was, I believe the name is the Midwestern Broadcast Academy, and I went there. And basically you go, I'm going to say it was 9 months, I'm not exactly sure, but you leave with a demo reel that then you'll send out to radio stations and try to get a job. Well, you really learned a lot. You learned how boards work. You learned how, you know, all the trade talk, you know, and about at the time carts, which you would probably don't even know what that is. You're so damn young. But everything wasn't just buttons then. It was physically, like you would walk into a morning shift and you could have 60 what looked like 8-track carts. Stacked because it's commercials and promos and everything.
Right. No, our college radio station had a 70s board, so
yes,
I was familiar with
that. You know what it is. It's exactly what it was. So I went there, and I left there with this reel, this demo reel, and I sent it. You send it all over the damn country, and you get a million letters of, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you. And then I get a phone call.
Wow.
Hi, this is whomever, WRIN-WLQI. We heard your tape. We'd love to meet with you. Well, it turns out it was only an hour and a half from my home. It was in Rensselaer, Indiana. So I went there and I met with them, and they offered me the job. And as I always say, it was a miserable / awesome experience because dues were paid. Big, fat, hairy dudes were paid. I worked, I always figured it was around 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, and I made $120 a week. Ooh. I mean, this is it.
Yeah.
So there was.
Would they put you on the air at like 1 in the morning?
Well, no. Actually, I got the mid-morning shift.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I wasn't upset about that. But so I was on for 3 hours. But then I spent the rest of the day doing their logs and trying to make sale ads. I mean, it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
You're like if you make a sale, like say the local, you know, pharmacy is going to run an ad. You have to cut the ad. You have to record.
Do all the paperwork.
It's everything. Yeah. It's everything.
Wow,
yeah, $120 a week. But I learned so much. I learned, number one, I don't want to do that any longer. So I got a call one day off air from someone who had been driving through town, and he just suggested to me that you might enjoy Second City. You know, he liked my back and forth with the callers.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, blah, 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 we'll think about it. And next thing you know, I looked into it, and sounded really cool.
That's an
So I
amazing
gave it
way.
a
So
shot.
somebody called in and told
Someone
you.
just called in and told me about this program that
Wow.
they thought I'd be good for.
And did you know about it before? or-
I mean, of course I knew about Second City.
Right.
But I did not know about the training.
Improv
I didn't know how any of that
Yeah.
happened. Because that was not my world. I didn't do theater in high school. Sadly, and I tell any kid now who will listen to me, you know, and especially in high school, you're so worried about being labeled. Well, in my high school, which is, we're talking 76 to 1980, so a lot of years ago, there were the jocks and the burnouts
Right.
and the drama fags, and God forbid you be labeled a drama fag.
Right.
And when I look back, I probably would have had some of the best years of my life.
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I didn't, because of a damn title, because of, you know, because I was kind of one of the smart kids, and I kind of got along with everybody. But when I look back, it's like, oh, I think of some of the plays they did and how much fun they must have had. They must have had a great time.
Right, yeah.
But because of, you know, being an idiot kid worried about what other people think.
Well, I mean, did the idea of acting even come in your mind at that point?
Never
Right,
came
yeah.
in my head. I mean, you know, I think everybody at some point like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to be like a famous actor? Blah,
Yeah.
blah. But nothing serious. That was never a serious thought in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I ever did performance-wise was in 8th grade. I did Annie, Get Your Gun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason they cast me in that damn thing was because I was the only big kid, so I fit the Chief Sitting Bull costume. I know to this day. And that is the only reason I was even cast in that. And I remember how much fun that was.
Right.
But then high school and now, and I'm already a big kid. I don't need any other things to have people throw at me. So
Yeah.
I kind of, you know, I had my group of friends. I was
Be low key, get
very
through
low
this.
key,
Yeah.
did pretty good in school. I was, you know, a good kid and all that kind of stuff.
But back to Second City, I mean,
Yeah.
you heard this guy calling in. Did you ever find out who that was? Or-
No.
That's so
He called
amazing.
off the air. Like he literally
Yeah.
called and said he for whatever reason he would drive that area
And listen.
and listen. And it was, I'm sure what he heard was me being sarcastic, because not that I meant to, but this radio station was in a little town of Rensselaer, Indiana. The only claim to fame is it's St. Joe's College is there, and they had a pretty decent basketball team at the time. I don't know now. So, you know, these people that would call in, you know, it would be, yeah, Jim, I'm looking for someone to buy my, I have two head of cattle, and it was like craziness. And
Right.
like if we had a contest, the prize would be a 6-pack of Pepsi. And I swear to you, these people are driving, because it's the station is in wherever, on some top of some hill.
Yeah.
6 feet of snow, these people are driving to get their free 6-pack of Pepsi. And so I think I became a little, perhaps cynical, you know, and so maybe he sensed
That's
some
so
of
funny.
my...
So how long was it after that you heard that you went over to Second City to give it a shot?
Boy, I don't know exactly, other than it was certainly within a couple of months. Because I
Okay.
remember because the guy who owned this radio station, I won't say his name, but he was Looney Tunes. And him and his wife, and I remember at one point thinking, because I put up with a lot, not just me, everybody there. This was the nature of this radio station. And at one point, I thought, I got to do something. And then I remembered, like, well, that did sound interesting. And I had, like, the most supportive parents. So I knew I could move back home and still then go to Second City. So in other words, I have a roof over my head still,
Right.
you know, because they were amazingly supportive. So that's what I did. And I was so happy to leave that place.
Yeah.
And yet, I also made some great friends. Again, learned so much that I will be forever grateful for. But what is interesting, and this is just life, I guess, that owner of that radio station since has taken a lot of credit for my success.
Oh, no.
And I want to go, dude, you had nothing to do.
I
But,
started it.
you know, like, okay,
That's so funny.
You're going to say what you're going to say, but
Very similar.
Oh,
experience.
really?
Right when I graduated, I worked at a radio station, and the guy who was running it was not on, par with everything else.
Right,
And,
right.
I quit really soon after that, and
Yeah.
then I did Second City. I moved in with my parents and everything like that.
Oh my God, that's the same damn story.
Same story, yeah.
Wow. And were your folks supportive?
Yeah, so far so good.
That's what's the greatest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
Because
helpful.
there's so many people struggling. When you have at least the support of your family, and not that they ever understood it. And by that I mean, my dad would say to me, so let me get this. You work downtown all day. Then you go to do theater at night where you don't make any money, and you help build sets and everything.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
That's it,
right?
yes.
Well, you said that you worked very hard, like during the day, and you do theater at night.
Yeah.
What were some of your jobs at those times?
Here was the blessing. For some reason, and there's no one, I don't know why,
Yeah.
but I type very fast.
Wow.
Like, I believe it was 112 words a minute or something.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't been timed in a lot of years, but
that's still really
it was
fast.
still really fast. And like I remember in sophomore year of high school, I had to take my classes were filled, but I needed to take some sort of like a blow-off class. I forget, but anyway, I took typing. Well, from the minute I sat down, the woman said, "Do you play piano?" I go, "No, I do not," because whatever I just happened to.
You were the Mozart. Of the
whatever reason, these fat fingers could hit those keys. So that was my saving grace. Because of my typing speed, I learned at the time it was called WordPerfect. I don't even know if it's still out there. It's a software program for word processing. And so that's what I did. I was a word processor.
That's so cool.
And what was nicer about that than the average temp job is because it was called word processing, it's kind of a skill. So instead of getting minimum wage, depending on where I was, I could get $12, $13 an hour.
Oh, nice.
And this is again in the 80s. So it definitely helped. So, but I worked at all. One time, one day I got fired. I should say I quit. And then this old man came up. I was temping at this place, and he said, "You seem to be on the phone a lot." And I said, "I'm sorry." I said, "Is the work not getting done?"
Yeah.
"Well, that's not what I'm saying." I said, "Because the work I do, the reason I'm on the phone is there's nothing to do."
Right.
But okay. So
you just typed up everything.
Everything was done quickly and handed in. And he was, as it turns out, I found out later, he was just a consultant. He didn't even work there. So the guy I was working for, who was out of town, called in, and I said, "Listen, just so you know, I'm gonna leave here because I'm not liking this vibe." And to be honest, I was a popular temp because of my speed of typing. So I knew I'd have a job the next day if I wanted one.
Yeah.
So this guy was so crazy mad at the other old dude. He goes, "Put him on the line." I'm like, oh God, this turned into a whole thing. But I still left because I thought, well, now I can't be around here.
Yeah.
It's just too crazy. But I also always had a busy social life, and I know the guy was probably right. I was probably on the phone way too much. I'm calling friends about this show we're doing or that show. Can you pick up this prop? Can well, what if we write this scene?
Right.
All this stuff. And so I'm sure he was crazy. But my point of view was the work is done.
Exactly.
I understand if I'm on the phone and you're waiting for a document, you should be pissed.
And once, you said you didn't really know what you were doing in college, and you were kind of just looking for something. When you're calling during your other job about Second City and improv, is that sort of when it clicked? You're like, that's what I'm really passionate about.
I knew the first time I got on stage at Second City, it was on the main stage where I was on last week or 2 weeks ago now, and I got that first laugh.
Oh yeah.
And it was this moment of, oh, and I thought, that's really cool. Oh my God, that's cool. And then I'd get more laughs, and then I was kind of, the funny one in the class, and then people wanted to work with me, and I thought, well, this feels right.
Yeah.
So it was interesting because I knew pretty quickly that I had found what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, but I also knew as I said that, it doesn't mean you get to.
Right, yeah.
I have a lot of super crazy, talented friends who, for whatever reason, it hasn't worked out where it could be a living. And I'm also I've never been the guy who could sleep on a friend's couch for a month. I'm just not that guy.
Yeah.
So it needed to work.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell would have happened.
All the eggs into one basket.
Yeah. And I kind of did.
Yeah.
Other than my typing skills, I guess I could still be word processing, and maybe in another, I would have had to learn another program. I don't know.
That's so great. Now every time I see you in the back typing in Parks and Rec,
dude, I type really fast.
He's writing a whole script, right?
Yeah. Amy said, no, I type faster than you. I go, no, you don't. And so we did it. And I go, put it away, bitch. I got this. Yeah.
That's so cool. And you mentioned you were there mid 80s in Second City. Did you ever?
Well, I was never worked for Second City. I trained there. Never worked there.
But did you cross paths with Amy? Because I think she was
never.
There
the only thing we can figure that we think we did together was through friends. We all went to a Hollywood parade. Like literally, that's all we can figure.
Just
which makes out here,
yeah.
And it makes no sense because we have a million crossovers.
Yeah.
And same with Nick Offerman. Nick and I absolutely should have crossed paths in Chicago, but we can't figure it out. So if we did, we do not know, because if Nick and I talk, it's about this person, we know that person, we know everybody, and for some reason we never crossed.
Wow, so that's amazing.
That's
amazing. You probably were in some room together, and
I guarantee we were in rooms together.
Never knew
never
hit
knew.
show on NBC.
Yeah, never. Yeah, I know. Life is strange. Yeah, true.
Speaking of Mr. Offerman, I heard that you initially auditioned for the role of Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson.
That's
Picture Jim O'Heir as Ron Swanson.
Well, how did
Leslie, get me some bacon.
What was your take? Did you have a different take on it?
I did. First of all, it's so crazy when I think back, because the thought of anyone other than Nick Offerman playing the role of Ron Swanson, there's nowhere in my world that I can think of another actor right now that it's been perfected.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just can't think of it. But that being said, you get a phone call from your agent. First of all, the word had, you know, everyone kind of knows what's going on, and you hear that Amy Poehler is going to go from SNL to a sitcom.
Yeah.
Well, of course, you're like, oh, would that be awesome to get on that show? You know, me and every other actor out here. So whatever. Then they're creating it, and they come up with these characters. They release them to the agents and breakdowns so that they can submit people. Well, everybody and their brother auditioned for Ron Swanson, and I think the reason being at the time, they had Amy, they had Aziz. I mean, they knew of these people before there was any auditions. No one else auditioned for time. Like, they had Amy, Aziz, Rashida, and Aubrey. That was like a done deal.
Wow.
Before the show. And Aubrey got it because the casting director called Mike Schur and said, I just met the strangest girl. You have to meet her.
And she was another one where her paths crossed with she was a page.
She was a page, as well as a PA at SNL for a while.
While Amy was on
the show. So imagine, there's, you know, her idol, Amy Poehler, and now she's
working side by side.
And good friends with her now. Life is crazy.
So those guys were locked in.
So those four were locked in, like, from the beginning. They had, I forget how the Aziz story went, but he was locked in. Like, they knew they wanted Aziz. So they put out for Ron Swanson. So everybody and their brother. I mean, I went to that first audition, and I'm telling you, big, short, fat, thin, black, white, Indian.
Everybody was there.
Everybody and their brother.
Yeah.
Well, you find out later, Nick was always their thought. But the network, because Nick wasn't a name, let's see other people. You know, that's the nature of that.
Yeah.
You know, even though your producers can, you know. But what I love about Greg Daniels and Mike Schur, and again, we find this all out later. At the time, we don't know. Like, when it came time for them to give their choices to NBC, they only sent Nick's tape. They didn't send anybody else, because that's who they wanted, and it should be who they want.
Exactly.
This is they're writing it. This is in their head. So I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So I auditioned for Ron Swanson, and my take was stern like his, but more affable.
Okay.
And that's probably just because who I am, maybe.
Right.
So I think, but I my whole thing, I always tell any actor out there, auditions are so important. And I'm one of the crazy actors. I love auditioning, and I know that's nuts because most people are terrified and they hate it. For whatever reason, I love it. Maybe it's because I'm performing, or I don't know what it is. I love it, and that doesn't mean I don't screw up, because I've done many where I've stunk up that room. I just want to go. If you hire me, you're idiots. You know what I mean? Like, you have no taste if you think that this performance is worthy of the role in your show. So I've certainly screwed up, but my thing is always go into those auditions so prepared, because you don't know, number one, who's in the room, and you don't know what else they're working on. Right. So when I hear I'm going to audition for Ron Swanson, in my mind, I'm like, they'll never give Jim O'Heir that role. But this is the guy who created The Office, and the other guy who's been working on The Office, and they both were at SNL. These are important players.
Yeah.
Just impress them. That's all you can do. And I felt like I did. I left the room thinking, okay, hopefully down the road, if there's a guest star, or they're working on another show, who knows, they'll think of me.
Yeah.
So you put it on your mind. You have to, because if you obsess about every audition, you'll blow your head off.
True.
It's just, you can't.
Yeah.
I do what I always do, which is I get in my car and redo the audition again, as if that's going to change anything. As if anything can happen.
Go over every little
every line. Well, did I tweak it here? As if it matters. It matters none. The tape is up there. They've already seen what I'm going to do. So then weeks go by, and I get a call from my manager, and she said they just called and they wanted if you'd come back in to read for a different role on Untitled Amy Poehler Project.
Yeah.
Well, hell yes. It worked out how I thought. Yeah. They're not going to give you Ron Swanson, but do a good enough job that they like you.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I thought it was just for a guest spot or something. I didn't know what it was.
Right.
So then I get to the audition, and the room is filled with big and white and tall and black and pink and yellow. And so again, like well, they don't know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So that audition I do, and it was for Jerry, but the Jerry that no one knew yet, because they didn't know who Jerry was. Right. So I think they kind of just created a scene, because when I look back, it was nothing. It really was not much of anything. It certainly didn't relate to the show. So, but I did it, and it was fun. The room was fun. Greg and Mike are just sweet men, and it felt good. Again, I left there going, you did what you can do. Redid it in my car, and then let it all go.
Yeah.
And then I think it was 2 weeks later, my manager calls and says they want to book you on Parks and Recreation.
Oh my gosh.
So, well, what is that, number one? The Amy Poehler Show. Oh. And I said, what role?
Yeah. Audition twice.
Yeah. And she said, Jerry. I said, okay.
Great.
But we still didn't know what that meant.
Right.
Because they weren't offering a steady gig. They did say, the way this is being shot, because of Amy's schedule, I get confused. She was either pregnant or had just been. But they, instead of doing a typical pilot, they said, let's do 6 of them. So
just back to back?
Back to back 6.
Wow.
So, which is good and bad. The bad of it is, you know, with a pilot, after you do the pilot, you test it, you find out what works, what doesn't work, and you can tweak it.
Yeah.
We didn't get that opportunity.
So the whole thing was
so the first 6 were kind of the same tone, which did not end up to be the tone. They changed Leslie season 2 to be, because people were saying she was too much like Michael Scott from The Office.
Oh yeah.
Who, I'm a obsessive fan of The Office, so. I knew what they were. I knew what people were saying, but that's never who they wanted Leslie to be. This was not a ripoff of The Office, even though it was from producers from The Office.
Yeah.
So we didn't get that. But so I did those 6, and then what kind of, from what I hear, what kind of helped me was the very last day. I thought I was done, and then I get a call that night from my manager saying, something's gone on. They want to know if you'll go with Amy tomorrow to some forest with a couple of kids and just improv some scenes for the top and bottom of the show. Okay. Well, now I'm terrified, because I haven't done the improv forever, and it's Amy freaking Poehler. So I get there, and to be honest, it was awesome.
That's so cool.
And the word is, I made some fans that day of the producers, and they were like, okay, he can play the game.
Yeah.
So then that was it. So then season 2 started, and I think by midway through season 2, we got the call to make me a series regular, which is, of course.
And you got to be on every single
I've never missed an episode.
Yeah.
I've never missed an episode.
That's so cool.
And even in season 2, this is funny. Season 2, one of the producers came up and said, they're writing an episode for you. I own it, like, for me already, wow. And they did. And so I was getting calls from some of the people from The Office. Damn you! We were 4 seasons before we got an episode or something like that. So I kind of knew, even before they offered me the regular series option, I kind of knew it was heading that way, because they were giving me a storyline.
That's
so
great.
Yeah, so that was.
I think it was in the 2nd season, but my favorite part of your character, I think, besides the fart attack, which is classic. But, I love. I think it's Paul Schneider's character when he comes in. You guys
Mark Brendanowitz.
Yeah, you guys are trying to top each other.
Exactly.
And you go, hey, I found out that you have a parking ticket you didn't pay for. And he goes, oh yeah, well your stepmother or your adopted mother smoked weed.
Yeah. I'm like, what? He goes, oh, you didn't know she smoked pot? I didn't know I was adopted. Yeah, and it's funny, because that's
my favorite.
It was written by Dan Gore, that line, and to this day, Dan Gore is now the co-creator of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And Dan was with us until Brooklyn, and I always say, Dan, I owe you the fact that I'm still here. He goes, oh, something else would have happened. I don't know, but that's when the writers knew. When they saw after that was shot and they watched it, that's who he is.
Your reaction.
He's that guy. He's the what? He doesn't know what's totally going on around him. That's who he is. And thank God, because
that's amazing.
Maybe something else would have come up, another character type thing, but that solidified it.
Because you mentioned that Jerry wasn't really fleshed out when you first went.
Their theory was, Mike and Greg said, he's funny, put him at a desk. Something will happen.
Okay.
And every once in a while they throw us a line, oh, Leslie, so-and-so's on the phone for you, or, Ron, April, whatever, little bits here, and they put us in the group scenes. Right. And so you would see, right, when I say me and Retta, who plays Donna on the show, because we were hired under the same guise of not really knowing where the hell. So we bonded early on. Yeah. Retta's my girl. But they always did try to include us, but yet we weren't one of the main 6. It's just how it was.
Right. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Did you have a big hand in helping flesh out?
I'd like to say I did, but I didn't. And as a matter of fact, someone said to me, you need to go to them and give them a bunch of ideas for your character and show them that, blah, blah, blah. It's not my style.
Yeah.
And I'm probably wrong to not have that style, but it's not who I am. And I didn't do that. And I mean, I certainly pitched ideas over the years, like once we knew who Jerry was, like about family issues and stuff like that. But these writers, they're just so damn brilliant. I always felt, I still feel, I'm not worthy, like, to go up to them and say, here's what should happen. Oh. No, these are people who have, look at the episodes they've written.
Joe Mandy, Megan Amram.
My God, Harris Whittles.
Very funny, talented.
Aisha. It goes on and on and on. The writers, Dan Gore and Norm Hiscock and everybody. So, I'm not worthy. So no, they fleshed out Jerry. I'd like to think my performance helped.
Yeah.
Because then it would lead them to think of other things.
Absolutely.
But I can't take credit for that.
I mean, I think as a comedic actor, which, I think Jerry's the gold mine character. You get, not only do you get to do, physical and sort of slapstick humor, but he's just like, he kind of, like you said, he like doesn't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
But he's also at the same time so lovable and unassuming.
And he's ultimately happy.
That's like the Charlie Chaplin,
yes,
that's the ultimate comedy.
Yeah, and Amy said once in an interview, and I remember it kind of stopped me in my tracks because I was so flattered. She said, Jim is a brilliant physical comedian.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've never thought of myself as that, ever. And I still probably don't, because there's no one's worse to their ego than I am. Because I'm always like, I'm not worthy. But it was such coming from her. I don't know. That just felt awesome. So to be able to get to do falls and they were really good because I loved doing it. Like I wanted to be set on fire. I wanted to do all this stuff. But some things you can't just because of insurance. And there was a scene where I fall in the creek to get a burrito, and the creek, it was over at Lake Balboa, and it was maybe 3 inches of water. And they're like, we can't let you fall there. It's all rocks. So anyway, a stunt guy did the initial fall, and then I lay in the creek and get soaked. And anyway, they let me do everything else. But other than that, they've pretty much let me do my own stuff. And they're always like, okay, we have a stunt guy. What are your thoughts? Let me do it.
That's so
okay,
cool.
But please let me do it. So, and then sometimes what they did, because to me, especially when something airs, you can see their face. Like, you can tell when they pull in when they're pulling because, the actor didn't do it.
Exactly.
That makes me crazy. We did a promo for the Olympics. And in the promo, Nick and Pratt, so Andy, in the promo, it would have been Ron and Andy. They're playing. I'm sleeping in a chair, so they wheel me out into the hallway, and they push me like a shuffle, what's that? On the ice, is that? They're brushing.
Gosh, I don't know.
The hell is that? You know what I'm talking about, though. So, and they the bit is he hits a wall and goes flying.
Yeah.
So they had the stunt guy there, and the stunt guy did it, and he got a little rattled. Like, I go, oh, please let me do this. Please let me do this. No, we can't. I go, please let me do this. So he did it, and that's the take they used.
That's amazing.
Because you can really see me hit the wall, and it's not a stunt guy. It's my face and my reactions and my falling off the chair.
Yeah.
And, I just love stuff like that.
What was did you have what was the biggest stunt? I think besides lighting
the fire.
on fire.
The fire was definitely the biggest, as far as there was so much that goes into it. And by that I mean they have to have a fire marshal, they have to have firemen, they have to have the stunt guy and his guys. So I mean, I couldn't have been hurt if I tried.
Yeah.
It was everybody. If they had swung the camera any direction, you would have seen 10 guys ready to pounce on me. So. I was all for it. The stunt guy did it initially so I could see what was going to happen, because the trick is when your arm goes on fire, don't do this. Oh. Because then it comes up here. So either keep it up here, or, whatever, but don't do this.
Put your hand down.
That's the whole trick.
Yeah.
If you don't put your hand down, you're not going to, So, and they said if you feel burn, they gave me a code, and I just say it. Well, I felt heat, but I never felt a burn. And so I loved it. We did 3 takes, and I was
fun.
like, "Oh yeah, another take!" Yeah, and Aziz was the one to put me out. And
did he actually put you out?
yes,
Yeah.
Aziz actually put it out
Wow.
in the spray thing.
Yeah.
But again,
But he
if
ruined
he
the cake.
hadn't have put me out, what's that?
He ruined the cake, though.
He ruined that damn cake. He tried to blame it on me.
But sorry, what were you saying?
Well, no, if he hadn't put me out, I would have been put out by 10 other places.
Oh, yeah.
The guys were everywhere, and they even had these wet things, and it was really cool. They put this gooey stuff on your arm, and then they put this cloth over it. Then it's amazing what goes on, But it certainly added way more time to the day because of the prep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was awesome.
So funny, though.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that.
I mean, how did you ever do like pratfalls or like physical humor before, like on stage at Second City, or because you are like a master at it?
Well, I don't know about
right.
Thank you. You're too kind.
I actually when I watch Parks and you do something like you spill a coffee or something like that, I'll rewind it because I'm like, how did he? Like, it was so unnoticeable and perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. I did find the trick to falling over chairs is to just as you're walking by, put your foot in the rung, and because Pratt and especially Aziz, they're like every time they think I'm really falling, so their reactions are so real because I mean, are you okay?
Right.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I really enjoy it. But have I done it before? I don't. I had to do I did a play once in Chicago where I had to eat 28 pieces of gum at once.
Oh my god.
That was probably the craziest thing. But imagine 2 shows.
Right.
That was a lot of gum. My jaw would ache. But that's a different story.
And it seems like also Jerry was like maybe for a couple seasons was sort of the butt of the joke after they figured that out.
Yeah.
But then maybe like 4th season or 5th season they discovered that, or they rewrote it so you're like a hero at home.
Yeah.
And you're like this crazy, you have this alternate life.
And that is the only reason that I was allowed to be on that show for 7 seasons. Because Mike's theory, and he's absolutely right, you can't have a character who's so put upon, so beaten up.
The audience feels bad for him.
You already feel bad for him.
Yeah.
So now if you thought he went home and life is like, it's too much.
Well, whose idea was it to make his life like, married to Christy Brinkley?
Well, there was all sorts of ideas.
Yeah.
The word came out, we're going to look at Jerry's home life. Amy's pitch is super funny, but thank God it didn't go that way.
What was her pitch?
Her pitch was, maybe Jerry is so beat up at work that when he gets home he's a tyrant. So like he's married to this little tiny chain smoking, oh God, he's home, kids, he's home, be quiet. Like maybe it's which would really be funny.
Yeah.
Like I go home and I'm like just crazy.
Right.
But that's not like that. That's still a shitty life. I don't know if I can swear.
No,
but
yeah,
that's still a shitty life.
Right.
So Mike said the only way for this character to survive, that we can get away with what we get away with, is that he goes home and has absolutely the best life out of any of them.
Yeah.
And he really does.
Yeah.
As much as Jerry is put upon and teased and mocked,
He's beloved when he goes home.
beloved by his family and friends at home. I mean, his wife, yes, she happens to be incredibly gorgeous. His children are gorgeous. But not only that, they adore him.
Yeah.
They adore him. He is their light. And so, Jerry, work is work, whatever, okay. And I think Jerry knows who he is at work. Okay. Because there's even an episode where I pretend that I'm mugged, the burrito episode. Yeah. And at the end, and Leslie has told everybody, no more mocking Jerry, this is over, blah, blah, blah. Well, then April comes up with a cup of coffee or something, and I spill it all over myself. And then I go, okay. And then everybody, yay, mocking Jerry is back.
Yeah.
So Jerry knew who he was in the office,
right.
But he went home to this family who worshipped him. And it's a known fact, Jerry had the best life of anyone on that show. He
Absolutely.
really did.
Yeah.
Even Leslie, who is so bright and smart, but she's too obsessed with work. How healthy is that?
Right.
I mean, even in the last episode, I think she said, she goes, well, yeah, I'll work till I'm 100. At 97, I'll go down to 3 days a week. Oh, I'm already bored about what am I going to do on that 4th day. You know what I mean? Like, that's someone, but for her, that's awesome. But for Jerry, it meant family. Family was what was important. Right. And so as long as he went home, oh, it's 5 o'clock, Gail's got a meatloaf.
Yeah.
Jerry had it home. And yet, Jerry,
Gail's got like a tasty treat for me.
Gail's got a tasty, and April would be like, ugh, it's a meatloaf. Yeah, and then Amy, we've always we always joke about the whole, how she would be with him and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're Amy's character, Leslie, and Jerry were really the closest as far as quality of work. As much as Jerry screwed up, Jerry, when there was work to do, Jerry was there to do it. If Leslie needed Jerry, Jerry was there.
You were the only one campaigning.
I was the only one, like to the point I didn't even vote for her. I didn't know I'm out campaigning. So ultimately, when there was a crisis, and if you watch the episodes for the diehard fans, when Leslie's really trying to get us on board on something, Amy / Leslie looks at Jim / Jerry first, because she knows he's on board.
Right.
She knows he'll be on board, even though he'll probably screw the damn thing up. But even John Hamm was worse.
Right. Yeah.
Even John Hamm was worse. So, but meet him. You can hang out at Subway.
It's so true. I feel like of real life too. Those guys that you see are like, oh, I wonder, he's such a boring life.
Yeah.
They have the best lives, and the ones who you're like, oh, I wish I was them. They have this like the most depressing.
Right, and everyone's got a different definition of what is exciting. I mean, would Jerry's life be great for me? Parts of it, sure, absolutely parts of it. But I do like. I don't need to just go to Muncie. I do like to get on a plane and land in Europe. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Where Jerry is happy if him and the family go to Muncie.
Right.
Muncie's lovely, I'm sure, but so are the Bahamas, and so is London. So we definitely differ there. But I do think family is incredibly important, and it's probably because I was raised by a wonderful one that I realized the importance of that.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier that you got to make Amy, crack up in those early episodes. Who was the hardest to break character, and who was the easiest?
Okay, hardest to break, and it got less and less hard as the seasons went on, is Nick Offerman, because Pratt could break him. Really? Even if Offerman said he would not break, Pratt could break him. Pratt could break any of us, but I never said he's tough to break.
Would you guys try to break each other?
Well, yeah, it depends, because what we did, and I also think it's what kept everybody so close, we did what was called a fun run. So after we got a scene, what was on the script, so actors are happy, writers are happy, directors happy, we're moving on to the next scene. Before we move on, we do a fun run. Okay. And in a fun run, anything goes. And one time Chris was naked, one time Retta pulled off a wig. Anything goes in a fun run.
Yeah.
And we know the storyline, what we're supposed to get to, but we swear. It gets crazy, yeah. So then you're definitely trying to break people.
Yeah.
That's competition, But again, Nick, very stern, very stern. But as the years went on, he got easier and easier, and he can't look at Pratt. He just can't. Because the thing about Chris Pratt, on top of being like one of the loveliest men you'd ever meet in your life, he is so talented and so funny, and nothing is done the same way twice. Mm-hmm. So you don't know what's going to come out of his mouth, and it's lovely. As a fellow actor, it's lovely.
He's so physical
watch.
too. My favorite is when he jumps over the desk and he throws the laptop at the light switch.
And that was an accident.
Yeah,
they had to reset the whole thing.
Oh my God.
That was a total accident. Yeah. Even on the last. I guess I can reveal this because it won't make I can reveal this because it won't make the episode. In the finale, he does something, and out of nowhere, he takes his body and slides across the desk. Everything goes flying. Computers, everything was flying. But it was perfect because that's Pratt.
That's so great.
I think he'll have. I think he'll have a career after Parks. Chris Pratt. I think he'll have some stuff. Yeah. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, he's in every
He'll
movie
be
now.
okay. Yeah, he'll do okay.
Who is the easiest to break?
I'm kind of easy.
Yeah.
I admit it. I'm kind of easy. Amy is borderline. Boy, Amy's not easy, but it's just so gratifying when you get Amy. Yeah. I think Pratt's pretty easy too. Pratt. I think Retta can be easy. Yeah. Aubrey, not so much.
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza, not so much. Rashida was easy. That was a no-brainer. Adam Scott is he's good, and yet there could be days, I don't know what's going on, but he can be easy on certain days. Yeah, which I love, because Adam's a great guy too. And they're all great.
Did you have anything from the fun runs where you improvised that actually got onto the show?
Absolutely. But that being said, we always say the writing has always been so strong. We get a lot of credit. Oh my God, you guys, it looks like you're improvising that whole show. No. The writing is so strong that the words are as if we're just saying them. You know what I mean? Like we're just coming up with them. No, most of what you see on television is the script.
Okay.
That being said, absolutely, there's always little takes that we do. One of the funniest lines that Mike Shore said has ever been on the air for Parks was when Amy had the flu, and she's going to leave. She's all bundled up, and Chris goes, "Oh, I think I figured." He's on the computer. He goes, "It looks like you have connectivity like in other words, a computer issue." Just brilliant.
Yeah.
You know. And then there's always the classic do you watch the outtakes ever?
Yeah.
Did you see the one with Pratt and Kim Kardashian?
Oh my God.
Dude, I mean, for hours that day, everyone would just go crazy because you would think about that whole moment. Yeah. Oh God. Check that out, people. It's on YouTube.
I wanted to ask you, I mean, I'm sure you have a zillion of them, but what was like your most favorite moment on Parks and Rec, or some of your favorite moments? I know you guys got to be on Mad Magazine, which is like the
yes,
thing.
I was so honored by that.
Yeah.
That's still on my Facebook page. It's still my the drawing. And some people are like, "Oh, you look terrible." Of course we do. It's Mad Magazine. If you look good, no. Exactly. This is an honor. They're mocking us.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was. That's one of my biggest honors. And we found out recently that "Damn It, Jerry" is now in the Urban Dictionary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there you go. A little moment of pride.
Damn it,
How
Jerry.
sad for me. Yeah, damn it, Jerry. My favorite moments, a million, so I could never give you one. But every time we did a scene in the conference room, it would be all of us sitting around a table, which just meant there's going to be a lot of laughs. Just, because between takes and then even during takes and back and forth, oh my God, when we had scenes, when I would read what we were doing the next day, I was like, 2 in the conference room. Because it just meant we were all together.
Right.
And that's when it was the best.
That's so
but many, many of those.
Yeah.
And we did one of the final scenes we shot was in Tom's Bistro. And we were all together. And I remember thinking, I did this a lot, but in particular this day, I did it a lot over the 7 years. Remember this moment, remember this moment, remember this moment. Because we're all together.
Wow, yeah.
And and people have said it over years, "Oh, we're like a family." I mean, I love these people. I love them. And not just the cast. We've had 80% of the same crew from the beginning. That's unheard of. Yeah. And it's because no one wanted to leave that show.
Wow.
Because when you have a lead like Amy Poehler, who absolutely sets a tone of, obviously work's got to get done, but that doesn't mean you can't laugh and joke and cry if you're having a bad... She just set this tone. She was our fearless leader. That's just all you can say about her, because she's that person, and she's so caring and making sure everyone's okay with. Like if there'd be something wacky in the script, you go, "Are you okay with that?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I get to fart and split my pants. I'm all good. I am all good. You know what I mean? But that's who Amy is, and
that's
so
great.
She set such a tone.
I just finished her book, and
my
she's
God,
like my hero.
Well, you know how she wrote something about each one of us in the book?
Yeah.
We were at her house. The last couple of weeks of Parks, we were trying to get together more outside just because we knew it was...
Right.
So we're at her house, and she goes, "You guys, I'm going to have a very Leslie Note moment right now, and I'm going to read to you what I wrote about each one of you."
Oh.
Oh, God.
So you guys were all together when she was reading that part?
Yeah, she read
each
one. She read out loud to each one of us what she said about us, and... I don't know.
Amazing.
It was
That's
amazing and crying. And Nick Offerman's like, "Well, just to let you know, there's a lot of pollen in the air here today." And, yeah, it was amazing. It's just sweet and loving, and Amy.
That's so great too. Yeah, it's amazing. And to talk about the new season, it's amazing. I saw the first episode, and it's just so funny that it's 3 years in the future in 2017. And the gadgets that the art
Isn't that awesome?
are so cool too. The phones.
There's so many fun. The drones, the gadgets, the grizzle pads. And there's some other really cool stuff coming up that they just created, which may or may not exist in 3 years. It's not like we're going 20 years in the future, but they might. But what I love about it is, like Jerry, it's still the same clothes, still the same hair.
Hasn't aged a day.
Well, I mean, it is. He is. First of all, Jerry in the beginning of this season is 70 years old. Oh, now people say that because in real life I'm 52.
Right.
But when I was 49, they wrote Jerry's Sweet 16 episode because Jerry had a leap year birthday. Oh, yeah. So he only had a birthday every 4 years. So technically, when they gave me Sweet 16, 16 times 4, I was 62.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, 64. 64, because of course 16 times 4 is
Right.
64. So then 3 more years went by as we shot the show, so I guess now I'm 67. And then we jumped 3 years. So now I'm 70. Now in real life, I am 52. In the world of Pawnee, Jerry Gergich is 70 years old.
That's so funny.
So I always say, for 70, I look awesome.
Yeah.
For 52, I look like shit. But for 70, I am really rocking it. Yeah. So sad.
Well, you look great for both.
Oh, kissing ass. Thank you. I love that.
But I just saw the first 2, and by the time this
Yeah.
episode will come out, it'll be next week. So the 3rd episode.
Okay. Tonight we have 2 more.
2 more. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So
So
it'll be the
4.
5th.
You'll see 4, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so excited.
Yeah, they're burning them. You know, it's a mixed feelings about how they're doing it.
Is it 12 times, 2 times each?
No, we only did 13. The final season is 13.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be... Actually, I don't know how they're going to do that because I thought it was 2 every week, but 13
Yeah.
is not an even number. So I don't know. But the finale I know will be an hour.
Okay.
NBC is put, NBC... It's weird. So many people feel that NBC maybe didn't treat us super well over the years as far as publicity and stuff. But I got to come from the standpoint of they kept us on the air. They could have gotten rid of us at any time. We were not a ratings blockbuster. I do think what they did realize, which is true, we were very popular amongst younger people on Netflix and Hulu and on their iPads, and
Right.
they're not sitting at home with a Nielsen box.
Yeah.
And I do think they realized that. But still, they kept us on the air, so I'll be forever grateful to NBC. But they're burning them off. We're doing 2 a week, and then 1 week there must be 1, and then the finale will be a double.
Oh man.
Yeah, and the finale is amazing. People, every interview has said to me, if you could come up with Jerry's perfect ending, and I don't have to because they've done it.
Yeah.
They have given me. Amy said to me one day, "Did you hear what they're thinking about for you?" And I said, "No," and she whispered it to me, and I just had. My hair stood up. I mean, I was like, oh my God, that's
the perfect ending.
so awesome.
Yeah.
It's the perfect ending. So it's been written. In my opinion, other people might disagree when it airs.
I'm so excited to watch the new season, but also so sad that
Yeah, it was
wrapping
bittersweet,
up.
dude. Bittersweet.
It's very bittersweet.
But you know what? Every show ends. That is the nature of television. That being said, doesn't mean it's not easy to end it. But we also did not want to be a show that people were sick of.
Right, that drags on.
Because in certain shows that I love, went too. I'm not going to say which ones, but certain ones went too long. And even as a diehard fan, I was like, this was a tough season. It should have ended on whatever. So I think we're going to go out with people saying they could have even done a few more.
Yeah.
And we, you know what I mean? Like
Keep 'em wanting more,
Keep them
yeah.
wanting more rather than people wishing we had already been gone.
Right.
So I, as much as I would love to do it for the rest of my life and be with those people for the rest of my life, I think the right decision was made. And it really was, NBC put it in the hands of Amy and Mike. You tell us how you want this to go. And they did. And they even said the short season. They said 13. Like they went to NBC and
Wow.
said, here's what we'd like.
Yeah.
We'd like a final 13. Okay. I mean, they could have said final 20. They could have said whatever they wanted. It
Right.
appeared they could say whatever they wanted. But so it's going out the way Amy and Mike want to go out, and I love that.
Yeah.
Because if there's 2 people who deserve it to go out the way they want it to, it's Amy and Mike.
It's so great.
So-
I'm so excited.
Yeah, you'll see there's
It's-
some great stuff. I
Yeah.
really believe it's the strongest season yet.
Wow.
I really believe that, yeah.
Yeah, it's so bittersweet.
Yes.
That-
Lots of tears.
I don't want to keep you for
No,
too much longer.
okay.
Actually, I just wanted to ask you the Entertainment Weekly that came out a couple weeks ago. I'm sure a lot of people have asked you already.
Oh my God.
But did you tell them to do that? Or?
No. No. As a matter of fact, I had no idea. You know, the way these covers work, you shoot the cover. You know you're going to shoot the cover, and we all shot the cover. And we did a couple of different setups. Once you shoot the cover, I know Amy has approval of what picture they use, but nobody has approval, other than the editor, of the cover. Like how, I'm pretty sure Amy said, yeah, that we all look good in this picture. That's the picture to use.
Right.
But she said to me, did you see this when it came out?
Yeah.
Or I sent, how did I get it? Was it her? Someone sent it to me, and then all of a sudden Amy and I are talking, and Amy goes, I think it's funny, But I got her message to be, I'm not sure. What do you think? And when I first saw it, just to be perfectly honest, coming, and this is pathetic, but coming from my ego, I was very disappointed.
Right.
My ego talking. Like, what are the chances that Jim O'Heir is going to be on the cover of a magazine again?
Yeah. And then they did that.
And there it is. My face is covered.
Oh.
But then when you think of, in many ways, it's an homage to Jerry. It's like, of course they did that. Like, it's funny. And to your diehard fans, they went crazy. They thought it was brilliant. But as it turns out, a lot of people didn't. And were getting a hold of Entertainment Weekly. Fan sites were being started.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's crazy. So then I get a call from my publicist saying they want to talk to you over at Entertainment Weekly about how you feel about this whole thing. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to make a big deal out of this.
Right.
It's funny. Yes, I had moments of, ugh, I wish my face was on the cover of the magazine, but it's funny. So we get on the phone. They were great. They truly did it as they loved the character. They, under no circumstance was it like, well, we're going to screw with O'Heir. It was, this is a send-off for Jerry.
It's a beautiful homage.
Exactly.
No, when I first picked it up too, I was like, oh man, like, why did they do that? Like, it's totally like uncalled for. But then I thought about it some more. I was like, you know what? Since it is funny, that's gonna stand out as one of the top magazine covers of all time. Like, people are gonna like seek that out.
Well, Retta was in Ireland when went to Ireland for the holidays, and she comes back. She goes, what the hell? She goes, you're getting more attention from not having, from your face being covered on the damn cover than any of us. She goes, no one's told me about it, So yeah, it ended up, and then this week it came out, the new one that came out this week, I gave a rebuttal, a supposedly funny rebuttal. It's, silly. But ultimately, if they were so truthful in telling me that it was done strictly as a compliment, that the character was so well known and loved that people will get what they did.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's really cool.
That's so awesome.
And Entertainment Weekly has been so kind to Parks from the beginning. I mean, critics overall, we have been on every top 10 list. We've won the Peabody Award. We've won just so many awards. We've been critically praised from the beginning. And that never wavered. I mean, even some people would say, oh, this episode might not have been as good or whatever. But in general, we always stayed near the top. And that's tough, because in this business, as soon as you're up there, everyone's looking to knock you down.
Right.
And we never really got knocked down.
Well, it's truly one of the funniest shows on television right now. And
thank you. I take no credit for that, but I agree. And only because the writing is amazing. And the actors.
Absolutely.
Really, and we always say it was lightning in a bottle. The toughest part for the goodbyes, especially when Amy was trying to give a speech, she had trouble getting through. We all know this will never happen again. We all know that 8 people will not be together that like we were, and mesh and combine with the writing and the it was lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
So that's sad. I mean, Chris Pratt said it the other night. We were at some panel for something, and he goes, could it happen? Yeah. He goes, but I can't expect it. And he's right. We had 7 seasons, 6 years of a gift that most actors will never get. Even huge famous actors will never have had the gift of Parks and Recreation. So to know that we had that, because it's one thing to be, you can be a super A-lister and all that. You go to work, but to have the experience of 7 seasons on Parks and Recreation,
it's truly amazing.
I don't think a Brad Pitt has ever had it. It's a gift beyond a gift. And Pratt also, I don't mean to keep bugging you here, but one of the questions for Pratt was, and for all of us, but Pratt answered it, when the show, and everybody was becoming a little bit famous, did it ever occur to you to leave? Like, especially, Pratt is doing movies on the hiatus and blah, blah, blah. And the look on Pratt's face, he goes, that is a good question. And he goes, the reason it's a good question, that never even crossed my mind. And here's someone who easily could have said, listen, guys, I got movies lined up.
Right. Pratt
wanted to be with us. And he said if there was 10 more seasons, he'd be there for 10 more seasons.
Wow.
So again, that will be a blessing that very few will have had in their life as an actor, and I am grateful for that every day.
That's so amazing. Yeah, it's a tight family.
Tight, yeah, very, very tight.
So great to hear. And if I could ask you one more really quick question. I know you're doing a movie coming out soon called Road Hard, the Adam Carolla.
I already did it. That's already,
It's
saw the
coming out in
premiere.
March, maybe?
Is it? To be honest, I don't know.
Okay.
I saw it at the premiere. You know, Adam is a pretty decent actor.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, you know, it's not what he's known for, but he did that boxing movie, which was really cool. Yeah, I play
Is it a serious role for you?
As a kind of. Owner? It's not so much comedic. I'm a club owner. I tell you, when I realized, and again, I've never had any dream of being a stand-up. I would not have been good in that life. The premise of the movie, not to give away his story, but he's a guy who was a stand-up, got a big TV show that became well-known and loved. His TV show's over, the offers aren't coming in, but now he's got a lifestyle, so he needs to make money, so he's back on the road. And the road is tough for, God bless stand-ups, that road is tough.
Yeah.
And I play I own one of the clubs, and I don't know if I lie to him, but it's very much, he said this happens. You're told one thing, and then when it comes time to get paid, they go, well, you know, the numbers weren't what we expected, and blah, blah. Well, you have no proof of what the numbers were.
Exactly.
So I play one of those sleazy kind of guys, yeah. So, but it's interesting. It's a good movie. Yeah, I may just.
I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, take a look.
Awesome,
it's pretty good. And then I'm doing a project with not a childhood friend, but a friend from my Second City days, called Middleman, and we start shooting in the middle of April, and that is.
Is that also
the world opposite of?
Related?
It has a stand-up tone to the Middleman is referring to the middleman, but there's next to no stand-up comedy in it. It's about this guy Lenny that I play, who is. Just kind of a mess, and it's opposite of Jerry. So it's a nice opportunity for me. Yeah, actually, Ned wrote the film for me years ago. But, you know, you write films and nothing happens, but then these producers came to him and said, if you can get Jim to do it, we'll do it. So we start shooting in the middle of April, so we're really excited about that.
And what was it called again?
It's called Middleman.
Middleman. Oh, I'm looking forward to see that.
We're going to start a Kickstarter campaign. And there's some people in it that I can't say who that are huge.
Wow.
And I literally can't say one in particular who, but I'll just tell you this. When I said to him, would you do this, before he even heard the details, of course.
You said, wow.
Anything for you.
Yeah.
So, just blessed.
And it's the opposite of Jerry, which I'm looking forward to seeing.
It's the anti-Jerry.
Some of my favorite dramatic, actors were great comedians as well.
I think this will give me a chance to do some stuff.
Yeah.
And I've had some chance on TV shows where I've gotten to do some stuff, and it's always great. But this is dark. It's
really
a comedy,
but
it's dark.
Yeah.
It's dark. Yeah.
Sounds so great.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you so much. This will be airing on Monday, so
great.
Everybody should watch Parks and Rec tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And thank you so much, Mr. O'Hara.
My pleasure. I'm so glad this worked out. This was awesome.
So
great
much.
questions, by the way.
Thank you so
really
much.
Great.
Thank you.